Stormbreaker is the latest permanent activity to be added to Star Citizen's persistent universe. Currently in 4.2 PTU, this multi-stage activity will take you from the beautiful landscapes of Pyro IV to the hostile atmosphere and perpetual storms of Pyro I, with the end possibility, of course, being summoning a rather large Irradiated Valakkar. But if you're just looking to play in the new ATLS Ikti Rad, or grab VOLT shotguns or the new Stirling protection suit, you don't need to get wormy. This is PTU information, however I did wait on making the video until the release candidate stage of the patch. For up-to-date details when 4.2 goes live, I've once again made a one-page guide that you can find on the RSI Community Hub or in my new community Discord server. Links down below. Contracts are not required, and if you want to fight an Apex Valakkar on Pyro I, then you'll need to first visit one of the 10 data centers on Pyro IV. These locations do have attrition defensive turrets, so you can either take these out or land around 2 kilometers away and then venture in via ground vehicle. When you arrive at a Farro Data Center, the configuration of all of the sites appears to be the same. And if you're looking to use the new ATLS, then the emergency shelter on the path from the large landing pad to the courtyard is where you'll want to head first. With a 2-hour respawn timer, the desk in this building has an ASD maintenance keycard that you can either use at this location to get into the maintenance room on site, or keep hold of to open an ATLS garage on Pyro I. If you want to eventually summon the Apex Valakkar, you'll need to obtain one main thing from the current location: a Lazarus Specimen Cache access card. This is located in data processing on the first floor, and you need a data processing keycard in order to access the room legitimately. There's 4 of these keycards behind locked doors. The Executive Lounge, Storm Study Lab, and Data Analysis Room need a scientist's outfit to open the door. I prefer to do a non-lethal takedown on one of the many scientists in the area, tractor them to the door, and then use a med pen on them, as doing this rather than using Resurger with your med tool means you can knock them straight back out again. All you need to do is hit the open door button to start the scan, then wake the scientist up. Located on the wall is a key-locked safe with data processing card inside, and nearby you'll find a laptop that has a code needed to open it. The keys and safes are also on a 2-hour reset timer. Also in these secured rooms you'll find various loot boxes, much the same as Hathor. The alternative to messing around with lab coats, of course, is using that maintenance keycard to get into the maintenance room located under the main lobby. Once you have your key or keys in hand, it's time to head to data processing. Or you can explore the other rooms and take in the environmental storytelling and lore that is meant to prep you for what to expect on Pyro I. When we get into the data processing room, you'll find a small glass cubicle with a nice selection of VOLT weapons in racks, including the Prism Shotgun. These weapon racks are on a 30-minute respawn timer. You'll also see another laptop nearby, this time containing a 5-digit code that you need to enter into Tower 01 to begin the card printing process. A disembodied voice from the ceiling will be monitoring the camera and notice that you're not the someone that should be there. This will trigger all the doors to open, the alarms to go off, and a quick reaction force to appear. So now it's time for some good old-fashioned exploration using a 3x optical zoom and 7.62mm survey probes. The printing process takes 3 minutes with an interrupt event at 50%, requiring you to interact with the print controls once again. Several groups of enemies will continue to spawn until the printer is finished, starting out with light to medium armor, and eventually the Citadel armored enemies will appear. Once the printer is finished though, the 3 doors into the room will close once again, giving you some breathing space, provided you stay out of line of sight of the balconies, of course. Personally, I like to stay in the middle of the 4 towers while everything's going to hell and use the back corner of the room for cover when healing. Once you have your specimen access cache card and whatever loot you want, I prefer to hotfoot it down the rear stairs as there's less of an enemy presence that way, and leaving via the balcony or locker room can get a little bit hairy, all dependent on how many enemies you eliminated previously. Safely back in the sky, it's time to prepare for Lazarus. Depending on your group size, you'll need plenty of ammo for the Apex alone. In a trio, my FS9 cost for taking down the Apex was 4,000 rounds. And if you didn't grab one from the maintenance room on Farro, you can buy a Stirling protective suit from Stanton Gateway, Checkmate, Obituary, or Ruin. But if you're planning on using heavy armour instead of the Stirling suit, some decontamination pens might come in handy, as if your suit soaks up too much radiation, a decon pen might just give you enough time to get back to a building to regen your suit. To harvest Apex pearls, if you get that far, you'll want a Pyro multi-tool with mining attachment, but don't use anything other than the basic yellow tool if you want to see your mining UI. Bug report for that one will be in the pinned comment. There are 6 Lazarus complexes on Pyro I, 3 labs per parent location of Phoenix and Tithonus. As shown in the Storm study room on Farro, these locations are at key triangulation points around the strongest points of the permastorm on the planet. Due to the severe radiation and distortion surrounding these labs, they are each served by a transit station with a shuttle to take you on the roughly 25-kilometre journey into the distortion field to the lab itself. The field peaks at 12 kilometres above the laboratory and affects all vehicles that have a power plant. The only chassis that's currently exempt from this is the ATLS. Now I know what you're thinking. Yes, you can absolutely Titanfall if you want to. For those who dare risk the choke point on the way in and out, the transit hubs have a few outbuildings, around 15 guards in light to heavy armour, and shuttles arrive every 2 minutes. There's also a freight elevator linked to the main lab so that you can transfer your spoils slightly more easily than earlier PTU builds. Once you're done appreciating the shuttle ride in, you'll arrive at the shuttle balcony above the first floor. Now you can either go straight into the lab or jump out of the other side and go to one of the infirmary buildings to set your respawn at this location. There are several infirmaries around the exterior of the lab, and when you set your regen there, you'll respawn at one of the beds at random. Also in exterior buildings is where you will find the ATLS Ikti Rad. There are 2 of these per location, and you'll be needing 2 people to open the garages. But first of all, you need to power the garages up. Again, much like Hathor, but this time you'll need that ASD maintenance keycard to open up the battery storage garage to then take that over to the Ikti garage. Orientate the battery, plug it in, and then head to the terminals. There's one either side of the door. If both of you press at the same time, you have a brand new ATLS Ikti Rad to use for the Valakkar fight. With respawn taken care of, to wake the Apex, we need to acquire an egg from the specimen cache on the ground floor. Entry to this room requires a living person wearing a Stirling protective suit, and if you didn't bring one, you have 2 choices. Knock out and then wake up an NPC wearing one like we did at Farro, or just loot one. There's a very jazzy ASD edition Stirling suit in Dr Jorrits' office on the first floor, and the code for the door is like being in an escape room. If you want to figure it out for yourself, I'll put it up on screen now. And if you didn't want the spoiler, welcome back. Once inside the cache, the egg needs a few minutes to cook before we can take it out of the tube. And once again, there will be much wailing of alarms and flying of bullets, with at least one interrupt requiring your attention to confirm. When the chamber opens up, you have 15 minutes to deliver the egg to the cooling tower before it expires. I don't recommend using a tractor beam to carry the egg. Someone will need to physically carry it, as tractoring may lead to the egg falling under the floor and off into the abyss. Head out of the door that has the large armor crate in front of it, down to the right into the storage room, and if you want some more VOLT weapons, railguns or missile launchers, code for the security room on your left is on the laptop at the desk. But we're here for the spicy worm. So out into the courtyard and along the path to the cooling tower and insert the specimen. Following a dramatic and atmospheric entrance, hell gets let loose. Juvenile and adult Valakkar will pop up throughout the fight, with irradiated Copian and lab security also joining in on the party, completely ignoring shy Timood. Before I cover the Apex fight, if you've made it this far in the video, thank you very much. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments down below, or join my community Discord server. It's a single off-topic channel, everything else is purely Star Citizen related, and it's also where I'm hosting giveaways and screenshot contests. Notifications are opt-in only, unless it's critical that I ping everyone. With an approximate 750 metre irradiated bile spit distance that will overwhelm even the Stirling protective suit, and a 150 metre danger zone for its ground slam that will instantly kill you, the irradiated Apex might not be the gargantuan danger noodle like its free-range counterpart that we saw at CitizenCon 2024, but it's certainly spicy. For roughly every 20% of the Apex's health, it'll stop attacking and do a thrashing animation and get struck by lightning, until it starts to spasm. Once you reach that stage, it indicates that you're on the final stretch of the fight. The next milestone animation will be its death rattle. To damage the Apex at all, you need to aim for the weak spots across the body where you can see green pustules, and also inside the mouth. If you're on target, then you'll see green splashes to indicate a hit. Purely anecdotally, it does feel like that there's a significant damage fall-off, and staying just out of slam distance feels like the optimal place to be to avoid mass casualties whilst dealing the best damage to the Valakkar. After that, all that's left to do is harvest the 6 fangs, 15 pearls, and of course defend these trophies from anyone wanting to steal them away. To extract the pearls, you're looking for barnacles along the Apex body, and these go all along the top side as well, so you'll need to parkour your way up if you wanted to get all 15. Using your multi-tool to break off the protective carapace to reveal the pearl, and using a tractor to pull out the fangs. Once you've extracted your loot, you need to extract your loot. You can use either of the 2 freight elevators located nearby. These are one-way storage, with retrieval possible back at the transit hub, so you can make sure that the area is clear before loading up your valuable commodities. From chatting to Jared at Bar Citizen over the weekend, we've not seen the last of ASD, and we'll be seeing exactly what else they've been up to later on this year. Thanks again for watching, and until the next one, fellow citizens, fly safe and beware the bugs.